Trick seats, bad singing, bad vibes, and getting stranded. This is the stuff you need to be warned about when it comes to Disney World restaurants. The restaurants we're talking about today come with some unexpected caveats that you won't read about in just any Disney World guidebook. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. You've been warned about the sticker shock when it comes to eating in Disney World, but has anyone ever warned you about sinking seats or that you might not be able to leave Hoop-Dee-Doo musical review? No? Well, that's why we're here to bring you the weird and wonderful tips and tricks and heads up that we've learned by visiting Disney World every single day. Some of the restaurants on this list are our team's absolute favorites, but that doesn't mean they don't come with a warning. Okay, if you've got a hankering for sushi in Disney World, you got a few options. Tokyo Dining in Epcot and Morimoto Asia and Disney Springs, good choices. Though most rolls are going to cost upwards of $18. But if you're looking for straight up simple sushi rolls that are only going to cost you between $5 and $18 for even the most extravagant option on the menu, then Kimonos at the Swan Hotel is your top choice. In addition to affordable sushi options, and they're really good too, they also happen to be just a quick walk away from Epcot's International Gateway. You can dine on tempura, chicken katsu, try some sake or plum wine, and occasionally suffer through some really bad karaoke. From Wednesday through Sunday nights, 9:30 p.m. to 1 a.m., Kimonos moonlights as one of Disney World's karaoke bars. This is either a plus for you or a big negative. I don't know that there are lukewarm feelings on karaoke. For that reason, I'm warning you that if you're looking for a late night sushi fix and are not in the mood to listen to Tony, who's here on a conference, he's gonna belt out Sweet Caroline, you should consider skipping Kimonos. However, if you go anytime before 9:30, you're in the clear. Also, currently Kimonos isn't open on Monday or Tuesday. Now, really, really good sushi, and if you're a huge karaoke fan, hey, here you go. Now, over at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, you'll find one of the most immersively themed and wildly popular tiki bars, Trader Sam's Grog Grotto. They serve up classic tiki cocktails and sushi roll or two with a side of angry tiki goddesses, erupting volcanoes, and trick bar stools. If you're lucky enough to get on the sometimes hours-long wait list to get into Trader Sam's, you'll eventually be invited into the 51-seat tiki bar and encouraged to grab any open seat, which might mean making some new friends. Obviously, that lengthy and very common wait is something to warn you about. If you want to guarantee you'll get in and have the shortest wait possible, you're going to need to show up about 2 hours before they open. Now, yes, those are on very, very busy days, but at least you'll be safe. Typically, Trader Sam's will open their wait list at 1 p.m. and lines may start forming before that. You'll add your name to the list and get a text when you're welcome to come back after they open at 3 p.m. One other thing to note, you can bring kids in as long as it's before 8 p.m. After that, the bar does become 21 plus. Now, back to that seating choice. There are plenty of tables, but you may find yourself at the actual bar or the large surfboard table in the middle of the room. There's not a bad seat in the house, but there are a few bar stools that may have you questioning your alcohol intake. Yep, that bar stool is actually sinking. It's not your imagination. And no, I'm not going to tell you exactly which ones, because that would ruin the fun. Your seat will eventually go back to normal height, but in the meantime, you'll likely be given an extra long straw in order to reach your drink. So all-you-can-eat meals are very popular, and you've got 10 plus options for endless food in Disney World, but even when your plate isn't bottomless, you might find yourself with more food than you can feasibly eat. We're not saying that's a bad thing, but it's something I want to warn you about, because you'll find huge portions at lots of restaurants around Disney World, but one restaurant has been nominated by our team as the winner of the "oh my goodness, how am I ever going to finish half of what's on my plate" meal, and that restaurant is Art Smith's Homecoming in Disney Springs. The portions at Homecoming are huge, and is very, very heavy food, which is fine unless you don't want to carry around leftovers while exploring the rest of Disney Springs or feel like you're about to burst. Homecoming is not only large portions, it's hearty, it's filling, it's Southern comfort food, so lots of fried things, lots of butter, basically everything tastes amazing, and you'll be tempted to finish everything on your plate. This is the restaurant if you like splitting dishes. If you want a little less food, opt for an appetizer, which is still plenty big enough to be a meal. A lot of folks on our team love ordering the thigh-high chicken biscuits appetizer rather than a plate full of fried chicken. It still comes with 3 large chicken sliders, which is honestly still splittable unless you're very hungry. There are some salads on the menu as well, which might help you save some room for that hummingbird or shine cake for dessert. Now take this as your PSA that it is a-okay to split entrees in Disney World at any restaurant if you're feeling like the portion sizes are a bit more than you can stomach on your own. Homecoming is a must-do. We absolutely love it, but please arrive hungry. All right, it's time to dive into those fun, super themed restaurants that are probably going to pull the introverts onto the edge of their seats. Our team wants to warn you that you need to prepare for 50s Primetime Cafe in Disney's Hollywood Studios. What looks like a quiet, kitschy decor restaurant with some retro home cooking dishes on the menu might actually be the source of embarrassment and some, childhood trauma. One of our editors, Kelly, mentioned that one of her little cousins was forced to sing I'm a Little Teapot while the other had to go stand in a corner as part of all the fun antics that come along with the restaurant. It was horrifying for them, and they haven't been back since. Part of the theming of 50s Primetime Cafe is that all the servers are your cousins, and they will tease you and yell at you to get your elbows off the table and eat all your vegetables, and yeah, if you misbehave, quote unquote, you might end up singing in front of the whole restaurant. If your group is into a little bit of fun, but maybe not center of attention type fun, just let your server know when you sit down, because they'll tone down the antics a bit. You can still watch as those extroverts make fools of themselves, and not all your cousins at 50s Primetime Cafe are that over the top with the antics. You may just have to set the table when you sit down to make yourselves useful. But if you use the bathroom, be sure to remember the color of the hand soap, because you may get a pop quiz upon returning to the table. If all of that does not sound like a good time to you and you prefer your meals to be relaxing and maybe with less yelling, there are plenty of other restaurants to consider. By the way, I'd also like to warn you to stay away from Whispering Canyon Cafe at Wilderness Lodge, which has a similar vibe, though you may end up in a stick pony race or hauling around bottles of ketchup rather than singing to the whole restaurant. But it has been known to happen. Now, if you'd prefer to cut the chit-chat and eat your dinner in the dark, then Hollywood Studios' other retro-themed restaurant is for you. Sci-fi dine-in theater is cool, but bizarre, especially if you're on a date or just trying to make conversation with your dinner companions. Most tables are in convertible cars where you sit right next to or behind the rest of your dining party. Makes sense, as you're supposed to feel like you're at a drive-in theater, but that vibe also makes it feel like you shouldn't be talking over the movie. There are a few picnic tables at the back of the restaurant if that's more your vibe, and you can definitely request that, but the cars are the draw here. Now, this setup is great if you've reached the point of vacation where you need a breather from the group. Yeah, you know that point. But maybe not the spot if you were hoping to plan out your day tomorrow or talk about what ride you're hitting next. It's also dark inside this restaurant, which can be jarring once you make your way back into the blazing Orlando sun, so be prepared with those sunglasses or dine so you'll be exiting after sunset. The last warning is also true for Le Cellier in Epcot, which even if you don't speak French, you might be able to guess Le Cellier is a cellar type atmosphere, so it's dark. Now, if this list so far has you questioning whether or not you made the right dining reservations for your trip to Disney World, and you're looking to do some more research to find the perfect restaurant for you, look no further than the DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining, which is our massive ebook that'll take you through step-by-step planning of everything to do with eating in Disney World. It's full of budgeting tips, menu highlights, details on who's gonna love or hate every restaurant in Disney World. We put everything we know in this book. You can find that guide over at dfbstore.com, and don't forget to use code YouTube for that discount. All of our guidebooks come with a money-back guarantee too. If the info doesn't help plan your trip, just reach out to our amazing customer service team and we'll make it right. But I think you'll find something in those 800 pages that makes your planning go a little more smoothly. Okay, back to the list. Just because a restaurant has fireworks views doesn't mean you'll get a fireworks view. This is a very, very important warning because a lot of people eat at restaurants saying, oh, well, Josie from my Facebook group said that they had a great fireworks view from this restaurant. And that's great, but did you go at the exact time for the fireworks? Did you do that research ahead of time? And did you request a fireworks view table? And did you get one? Life is full of those what ifs. So there are lots of restaurants in Epcot and around Magic Kingdom that you may have read have great fireworks views. Restaurants like Ohana and California Grill, the Hacienda de San Angel, Rose and Crown, Spice Road Table, even Tokyo Dining in Epcot. Topolino's Terrace at Riviera Resort and Toledo at Coronado Springs also have views of some of Epcot's fireworks. But to get that perfect view, you gotta time out your reservation perfectly, obviously. Make the request and hope your request can be granted. California Grill at Disney's Contemporary Resort is probably the best for guaranteed views since you've got that private balcony to view from, and most of the restaurant has a great vantage point if you want to stay at your table. Other restaurants, you'll need to be in the right seat at the right time to catch the best view of the show. Two members of our team both shared stories of showing up about 40 minutes before showtime, requesting that fireworks view table, waiting for that fireworks view table, and still had a tough time seeing the show well from where they were seated. Sometimes you can do everything right and things don't come out perfectly. This is something I want to warn you about when it comes to everything on your Disney trip. Things will go wrong and you will have to roll with the punches. And remember, even a less than stellar view of Disney World fireworks beats no view of Disney World fireworks. So So our top tips are: keep an eye on that showtime. Park hours and showtimes can change leading up to your trip, and you don't want to show up too early or too late and try to finagle your way into a seat during showtime. If fireworks views while dining are 100% your top priority, choose restaurants that are going to guarantee it, whether that's a meal at California Grill or a dining package that includes fireworks viewing at Rose and Crown. Magic Kingdom even offers dessert parties that guarantee you a great view of the show. Want to know which restaurants are going to have the best show seats and some more tips on when to arrive to get that coveted spot? We got a whole section in the DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining all about it. Okay, just because you're dining at one of Disney World's signature dining, read fancy restaurants, does not guarantee you're always going to have the picture-perfect romantic atmosphere you're dreaming of. This is our next warning. There's only one restaurant at Disney World that has an age limit of 10 plus, and that's Victoria and Albert's, which is the uber fancy, uber expensive option, and it's finally reopening sometime in 2022. But other fine dining restaurants like California Grill or Jiko at Animal Kingdom Lodge do allow kids, and sometimes kids and fancy dining don't mix. One of our team members mentioned that she ate at Jiko, but there was a less than thrilled child at the next table that put a damper on their quiet date night experience. And Jiko also has the added disadvantage of a lot of banquette seating, which means you'll be nice and cozy with the dining party next to you. If you're hoping for a quieter, less crowded meal at any restaurant, fancy or not, opt for dining at non-peak meal times. Avoid that 9 to 10 a.m. breakfast rush, noon to 1 p.m. lunch rush, and 6 to 7 p.m. dinner crowd, and you'll find restaurants that are a little less packed. Opting for an early dinner right when a restaurant opens at 5 or 5:30 can mean you get to put in a request for a quieter, more secluded table as well. So Hoop-Dee-Doo musical review is finally returning after an extended closure that began when the parks closed back in 2020. This dinner show is quintessentially vintage Disney entertainment and is highly recommended by our team unless you hate fried chicken, strawberry shortcake, and fun. Now, even with such high recommendations, this restaurant comes with a few warnings. 1, the food is not the draw here. Yes, it's a restaurant. No, you will not be talking about that food months after your trip. You'll be talking about the show. 2, there are bad seats. Like I just said, the main draw is the show, and you want to make sure you can see it. This is one instance where it's worth the extra splurge to go for the better seats, tier 1 or tier 2, that are not up on that balcony level. Those are tier 3. Basically, you're turned away from the show nearly the whole time, and you have to turn around on your little stool to see it. And 3, if you're dining at a later show, don't plan on lingering too long because you might literally miss the boat. Hoop-Dee-Doo is over at Fort Wilderness, which is a wonderful secluded resort that can be kind of a pain to get to or get from. The best way to get here is usually heading to Magic Kingdom and hopping on a boat that will take you straight to Fort Wilderness, but be warned that the boats don't always run very late. Our executive editor Sierra had to race with her group to catch the last call for boats leaving Fort Wilderness for the night. So this warning is something you'll want to keep in mind if you're dining anywhere later in the evening. Free transportation around Disney World does stop about an hour or 2 after parks close. If you leave your car parked at a park, you'll want to make sure you've got time to hop on a bus, boat, or monorail to go back and grab it. If you've stayed somewhere a little too late, you can always call a taxi or ride share like Uber or Lyft to get you where you need to go, and you can always ask a cast member for help if you need to make it back to your car. They'll be able to give you the best advice and directions. All right, another word of warning that's going to help you with any Disney World restaurant you're looking to dine in. I'd warn against going to a restaurant right before it closes. If you go to a place like Ohana where food is prefix and everyone gets the same thing, it's possible to get some really overcooked meat since they're not going to throw new stuff on just for you. Same goes for buffets. I'd suggest you especially avoid seafood buffets at 9 p.m. Also, servers are ready to go. When the meal is done, you're going to be holding up the restaurant from switching to the next meal server, so closing up for the night. While no one is going to push you out the door, you won't feel the same leisurely vibes you might have had if you'd arrived earlier. But on the plus side, if you're one of the last groups at a character meal, many times the characters will basically come eat with you since no one else is around. I've had this experience a couple of times eating really late at Crystal Palace or Garden Grill. Like, everybody else is gone, you're the last table, so they basically come and just hang out with you, and you can get some really good photos. Now, this video is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the DFB team's expertise in Disney dining. Follow along with us and our in-park reporters on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Sign up for our newsletter and get the most up-to-date parks news sent straight to your inbox, and grab a copy of that DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining. I promise we put everything in there. It's updated twice a year. It's so useful. And again, 100% money back guarantee if it doesn't work for you. I hope these warnings have helped you. I know these are all situations I have been in, including karaoke at Kimonos. So, as always, it's my job to put myself in difficult situations so that I make sure you don't get in them yourselves. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.